presentation on Italy. She will be informing on missionaries and religion, and I will tell you the things to know.
Alright, so this is our missionaries. The first missionary is Brian Beth Howe. They serve in, I don't know how to say it, but it's a city in Italy. Their church was started in 1999. They're involved in children ministries, mentoring and discipling believers, and they both sing in the choir and reach the Italians in their country. Another missionary is Brian O'Clair. Brian serves in Italy where he is involved in church planting and leadership training. Currently, we have a church planting with about 25 people, but is still outreaching souls in Castel Italy. He helps the men in leadership. The religion is in Italy is the other religion is 1.0, non-religious is 11.7, Islam is 3.7, and Christianity is 83.3 because of these missionaries and others. Two religious things didn't get on there because they're too small, but Buddhism is 2.2% and Hinduism is 1.1%.
Things to know. The currency. $1.11 for us equals just one of their dollars. The population is 60,502,293. And the Prime Minister of Italy is Giuseppe Conte. He is the 58th Prime Minister of Italy. He was elected June 1st, 2018. Only about 8 other Prime Ministers have served for over 5 years. 17 have only served for less than a year. The capital of Italy is Rome. Rome is known for its great architecture, great food, amazing landscapes, and its beautiful cities. It was built in 735 BC. And then we go to the flags. This is the Italian flag. As you can see, it goes green, white, and red. Two flags that always get mixed up with this flag is Ireland and Hungary. Hungary, because while it has the same colors, it goes up and down. And Ireland, the only thing that's different is the orange. This is the Italy flag. A lot of people mistake these, so do not get them mixed up.
So our fun facts of nationalism is our national animal is a wolf, and our national flower is an orange lily. And the food and drinks there that are somewhat popular are Italian soda, which you guys had, honey semi-red. Yeah. But that's basically cheesecake, but they do some sort of
They add more berries and bits and stuff.
and then spaghetti. And their sports there are volleyball, basketball, and cycling. We couldn't find a picture of the cycling because, anyways. Volleyball, that's the National League from 2019. And then basketball, that's the team from 2019. And they got World Cup. So that's Italy.
Any questions?
My name is Miguel and this is Jonah. We left the water hole unattended, so we're gonna have to be quick. Okay, got the motorcycles ready? Outside? Okay, let's go. So, first of all, this is Ethiopia. As you can see, it's a pretty beautiful country with beautiful faces, beautiful wildlife that can eat you, beautiful prime ministers, beautiful food. So, I'd like to start off with the history of it all. So, Ethiopia is one of the world's oldest countries, with it being the kingdom of Kushum, which is one of the first kingdoms to accept Christianity in about the 4th century. Then, in the 7th century, oh no, it did not get good, no. Then the Muslims, they came in and they tried to take over the country because they were Christian. But we fought them back with our swords and our spears. And then later, the Portuguese, they came up and helped us. They helped us very good. And then we got into world affairs in about 1896. Then the evil Italians, you know who you are. They invaded us. They invaded us. Those fascists, Hitler worshipping evil ones. And then in about 1942, the Allies, the great American Allies, they help us. So after that, about in the 1970s, we began a modernization of our country. We went pretty good. We had a parliament, a constitution. And then those Russians, those evil communist Russians, they come in and they screw everything up with the military takeover. But in 1993, wait, no, I messed up. Okay, in 1991, oops, the communists got out of our country, but we had family. We died, but we lived. And then before 1993, we owned a place called the Ararat. I don't know how to. Which made us landlocked because they became an independent nation called Djibouti. And then now our capital is Akbar, but we're one of the poorest countries. I'd like to go to Germany, geography. Just go over it real fast. We have no time. What are all these being invaded?
Most of Ethiopia is consistent of highlands with mountains, plateaus, and lakes. The highlands are divided into the eastern highlands, and the western highlands is the most rugged of the two. The highlands are divided by the Greek Rift Valley. Ethiopia's average elevation is about 8,000 feet, with its lowest elevation afar. Average elevation. Oh, it's Dehen. How do you say that?
Dejen.
Oh, it's at 410 feet, or negative 410 feet, and its highest elevation.
Oh wait,
Oh, I just said that.
you said it right. Hurry, Jonah. The water hole is being invaded. You have to quick. You have to be quick. You have to get our information done.
60 seconds.
The climate.
In the higher islands are in the 60s with 20 to 80 inches of rain. The lower lands are about in the 80s with 20 inches of rain.
Okay, so Ethiopia's national animal is the Roro, the lion. There were a couple other animals, such as the Ethiopian wolf, most endangered carnivore in Africa, and the bell-mouthed vernet, which is one of Africa's least studied animals. Okay, Africa is the second largest continent. You see this food? We don't have it. You see this water? We don't have it. This is our Prime Minister. Go, Jonah, go.
Okay, hi guys. So obviously we brought China to you. So we're doing our project over China, which is located in East Asia. China's population is really big. It's at least 1.3 billion people in China, and the capital of China is Beijing. We have a picture of here, a beautiful picture of Beijing. Here we have the Chinese print saying China. So yeah, and right here we have our president. His name's very difficult to say.
You got this.
Say it, yeah. You want to try to say it?
You got
I
this.
think it's Xi Jinping.
Very nice.
But we got it. Okay, yeah. So Jane's gonna tell you about like what the political side, and I'll go into like the art and like our missionaries we have. Go ahead, Jane.
They kind of have like three main parties. Of course, the national president, which looks over the country as a whole. But then they have the central secretary of the CPC. We looked that up. Slipping my mind at the moment. He's kind of an important figure that does the detail work for the country, numbers and all that. The chairman of the CMC, he's a military, and he delegates the responsibilities of the people he helps pick. These two people help pick the next president. Currently, their president is holding all three positions.
So over over here we have our religion chart. And the number one religion is like Chinese religion, so it's like Buddhism. Like that's a big part, you know, worshiping a false idol, a statue. And then here, as we look here, we have non-religious. If you look at the pie chart, that's almost at least half of the people.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really big amount of people just choosing to be practically atheists. And then Christian is 7.25% of China, which is very little. The smallest percent is Muslim. Only 2% of Chinese people believe in Muslim. And here we have our famous missionaries. Obviously, Hudson Taylor, we learned about him in our chapter back in Asia when we were learning about Asia. Hudson Taylor was a famous missionary to China. He was born May 21st, 1832, and died January 3rd, 1905. He was a British Protestant Christian missionary to China. He spent 51 years in China. And obviously here on school ground, we have Kurt Daniel. Kurt Daniel was a missionary, I don't remember the year, but he was in China for about 1 year. And I talked to him about it and asked him how hard it was. He said that being there, it was very difficult because you can't, as American, you can't practically witness to a Chinese person. That was the rule. You couldn't witness to someone Chinese. You couldn't baptize anyone in Chinese. You couldn't have a church. So he could only witness to Americans, but obviously in China there's probably not gonna be a lot of Americans. So he told me that he had Chinese college students who took English in high school and knew a little bit of English, help him translate many things for scriptures and stuff. Yeah, Brother Kurt told us a lot of cool stuff, but in 1 year he saw 10 Chinese people saved. 10, which is like really hard. I asked him about baptism. There was no baptisms, but churches were held inside houses, his friends' houses and stuff like that. And then we have our little fun facts like food, traditions. So obviously the number one color on here you see is
Red.
red. Red. Red is a very important color in China. Red stands for happiness, wealth, and
I think it was like fulfillment or something.
yeah. So in many traditions like Chinese New Year's and weddings, red was a big color. Their Chinese New Year's tradition is really cool. They put up lanterns, and they actually believe red keeps away a monster, Nyan. He's a monster who fears red, which is weird because he's red. So yeah, yeah, he's like a lion monster. Here we have a traditional Chinese dress. It's not red, but it's blue and gold. You would wear this as a female. You would wear this to a tradition.
To a New Year's party or something.
Yes.
Formal but casual.
Yeah.
It's a modern version of it.
Yes.
30 seconds.
Okay, and here we have our coin. And go ahead.
There's actually a lot of suffering going on in China today with the coronavirus going around. These statistics are wrong now because it's gone up on the deaths, but also the cured. The amount of people that have got sick, been infected, has grown, and I think it's 1,000 that have
Yeah. Last time.
died, or
Yeah.
it's really bad. And there's either two things you mainly see about China: is they're always wearing masks, and it's always sick, or it's everything's good. See, it's kind of like a flip coin, one or the other.
Time.
That's China.
Me and Mrs. Anya were doing our project on Japan. The most common food is ramen or sushi, and fun fact about sushi is that 50% of the sushi that you'll eat at a sushi bar is made from a robot, and every robot can make one roll of sushi in 1 second. Most of the people just put like the final touches. I cannot speak English. Art is a big part of Japanese culture. Most Japanese art is about the nature because of the Shinto gods. They wanted to worship them as in showing them how powerful nature actually is. So most of the art you'll see, it will be with mountains, showing wind, water, every big part of nature you'll see in most of it. We have money. Their money currency is called yen. We have this little coin.
They can pass it around and look at it.
That's what I'm looking at. we were gonna print a picture, but time ran out. And the currency, so every $1 is 108 yen. So when you go to Japan, you're gonna be like, whoo, rich.
So, I have mountain. I don't know how to say it in Japanese because I didn't search it up. But the mountain, the famous mountain in Japanese is Mount Fuji, and it last erupted in 1707. And the mountain peak sits at 388 feet, which is really, really low. And then the religion here in Japanese is Shinto and Buddhism. I looked up and there's no Christianity in Japan at all, which is sad. And the prime minister in Japanese, which is Shiso in Japan, and he's still reigning at this point, and yeah.
For the prime minister, that is his second time serving. He served for 1 year. I think it was from 2006 to 2007, and then in 2012 he's been reigning since then. He went to school in Japan for a while, and when he came to the United States, he went to college and studied science, and came back, and that's where he started all his government training and becoming prime minister.
Awesome. Okay, we did our project on Scotland, and I just thought, first off, that we would talk about Scotland's national animal, and it just so happens to be a unicorn.
Yes.
And then we have the Kelpies, and they were a monument to the mythical creature that has the strength and endurance of 10 horses, and it was made in 2013 and was a monument to Scotland's horse-powered heritage. And then up here we have Scotland's population. Don't know why that's there, but it's 5.2 million, but in Edinburgh, in the capital city, there's only 482,000 people living in it. So not a lot of people in the capital. Scotland's main language is English, but they have their own dialect referred to as Scottish English.
Yeah, now I read my side.
Okay.
This is called Fingal's Cave, and yep, it was discovered in 1772. When they found it, there was like this poem guy, and he wrote like a bunch of good stuff. His name was James Macpherson, but they named it after him. I don't know why. They guess they didn't have that many other guys that were like super heroic in that time. This is the Man of Hoy. This used to be like I'm pretty sure it extended like to this, but because of erosion, it caved in, and now this little dude just sitting here. But it was first climbed in 1996, or when it was first climbed in 1996, and people still climb that thing today. And they're thinking that after like 10 or 20 years, it's gonna break more, and maybe this entire thing will be out. This is the Scottish Monument right here, or the National Scottish Monument. It was made for the Napoleonic Wars, but it was never finished due to lack of funds. So it's called like Scotland's Despair. Like they have nicknames for it because it's like a monument to the soldiers, but it was never finished even to this day. Do you want me to do the middle, or do you want me to?
Here, I'll go ahead and do some in the middle. The current Prime Minister, which you can probably see, of Scotland, is Nicola Sturgeon,
Yeah.
who was elected in May of 2017 and is the first Minister of Scotland, and is also the leader of the Scottish National Party since November 2014, which is it's a government ruled by a non-elected monarch who is head, but whose power is limited by the Constitution. So it's a little bit like our government, not completely, but she's not like complete monarchy, which means she's bound by rules like set in stone. like our Constitution. And then up here by our flag, we have the golden eagle, puffin, and a bottlenose dolphin, and a harbor seal. And these are all animals that live in Scotland. The main reason why we picked some of these and why we went with animals was because I love the puffin so much. Because he looks like a penguin, but he's a bird that can fly, so I thought that was pretty cool. You want to talk about that?
So this is actually pretty sad, but they did a study from 2001 to 2011. Christianity is the main religion that I saw, but it's gone down over the years. Like, I know I didn't write it down on there, but it's gone down like tens of thousands over the years. And Catholic has gone up 40,000, and non-religion has gone up 500,000 people from 2001 to 2011. So that's not even counting from 2011 to 2020. This is a kilt, and the first tartan was made in 1538. A kilt and a tartan they do their clans, so they sew them into the kilt and they do like symbols or patterns for the things. And
You got 30 seconds.
there are over 500, not thousands, sorry, clans and family associations around the world that have band together to celebrate their Scottish heritage. A kilt is just a tartan wrapped around the waist, and it has some other stuff with it, but it was like super hard to pronounce, but I didn't put it in there. But they have like this little bag that you can see right there, and it sits on the waist, and they have a pin that holds it together, and they keep a little dagger in their sock. That's time.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're doing the board on Greece and religion. So I want to talk about architecture in Greece. Many Greek temples had like really bright paintings inside of them to like praise their gods, kind of. And then most of their architecture was made in 3 different types of ways. Doric, which is very simple. Ionic, which is like very thin, like a very thin pillar. I like that. And then a Corinthian, which is very detailed and pretty. The Greek structures were like kind of like stolen from the Roman like structures. Like their pillars were very similar. That's it on architecture.
Okay.
And then the religion. Priests were very important because a lot of people thought they had like contact with their gods, and so they like felt like they were very like special and they should like praise them too. And then a lot of people fall into Catholicism or polytheism, which also means many gods. And the Greek people built a temple in each town for one god or goddess to praise them. And then some of the gods and goddesses they would worship are Ares, Athena, Apollo, and Zeus. Zeus is like the main one. Population is 10.74 million people, but that was like in 2018. Like that's the most common we found, so it could have like grown or like decreased. And the capital is Athens, Greece. And then the main religion is polytheism, because like they have many gods they worship. And the national flower is an oyster plant. It sounds very gross, but it's really pretty. And their animal is a dolphin. And their currency is the euro. And their national sport is soccer. They also have really weird foods, like baklava. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds
It's
really
really good.
And I have no idea how to say this, but it's like elinkos, which is a coffee, and Greek fava dip, which is a yellow spit pea puree.
Okay, well, the capital is Athens, Greece. Not Athens. And like after all that boring stuff, we can get to something cooler. Sports. Some of the most famous games that they would play is a pentathlon, running or jumping, discus throwing, wrestling, boxing, the pancration, and the equestrian event. Some of you probably don't know what those are, and neither did I. But the pentathlon is a men's event that involves fencing, shooting, swimming, riding, cross-country running. And each competitor will play 5 events each. And then the pancration is when men who were in the Olympics would fight like no protection, no rules. Like they would kick and use fight, and it would hurt. The equestrian events were basically the same thing as a creation, but it just took 3 days, so it took longer. Some facts about the games that they would play and the sports were they were originally a part of a religious thing that Greeks did to honor their god Zeus. And then the Olympics were originally created in Greece and played once every 4 years in the month of August. This is like a weird one, but when Greeks would play in the Olympics or any sports, they were always naked. Like they wouldn't wear clothes, not even like underwear. So they would be fighting each other with no clothes on. And the champions of the Olympic Games were considered equal to the gods, to their gods. And some facts about just Greece in general are Athenians did their best to make sure that Athens lived up to its name. So when it comes to sports, food, and religion, they would try their best to keep it up to make sure it was better than a lot of the other countries.
You have 30 seconds, okay.
Some of history's greatest thinkers were actually Athenians. And they created some of the world's most famous and beautiful buildings like Santorini and their churches and more buildings and stuff. And then there's descriptions on that. So.
Yeah.
So we did our project on France, and the population of France is 66.99 million, and the major religion is Christianity. Some Muslim, but the main religion practiced is Christianity. France is located on the western edge of the Europe bordered by the Bay of Biscay. The French culture is mostly associated with Paris. We did search on French, the history of France, and we found the French Revolution. And what I read about that was because of France's costly involvement in the American Revolution, King Louis XVI spending, it had left the country on the brink of bankruptcy. A regimen had that opposed heavy taxes was expressed by many people. The newly elected Legislative Assembly declared war against Austria and Prussia, April 1792. King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette were ordered to be killed for treason and crimes against the state on January 21st, 1793.
Okay, and then we did Mona Lisa. So Mona Lisa is a famous painting made by Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. His painting was most sung about, most visited, and written about. It cost $650 million in 2018. So it's like the most painting. And then so Mona Lisa's Roman, I don't know how to say her last name. Lisa, I do not know.
That's fine. None of us do either.
And then her husband is Francisco de la, I don't know how to say his last name. And then so we also did the Louvre,
yeah.
the Louvre Museum, and it's like a central landmark of the city, and it's like the world's largest museum, there it is. And the museum opened in August 10, 1793. And it was established it has 537 paintings about it, and so there was structural problems, so it closed in 1769. So they had to redo some stuff inside there. And
Yes. All right. Give me a round of applause. You start.
A little something about Ireland, yes. So, Ireland, a beautiful place, I agree with myself. So Irish, the first official language of the English. I didn't know the same word, but okay. I should remember. Irish potato famine, something that destroyed our own population. It happened in 1845. A horrible, horrible famine. It destroyed my little old pal right here. Just give me a second. Just one more second, please. Almost there. Oh, there we go. Alrighty. Destroyed my little pal right here, Potato Man. This poor little guy. Got destroyed, and it caused starvation all over Ireland. And it caused poverty and many, many wealth loss. My friend over here with his restraint.
What?
The restraint.
Oh, no. Here we have the religions in Ireland. There's 1% Muslim, 1% I don't know how to say that, and 1% Christian, unspecified, and some other stuff. Then there was a guy called St. Patrick, and he was captured and then put into slavery. He escaped and then became one of the main reasons why there is Christianity, even just a little, in Ireland today. And we also just have some little facts on the sides here. There's a man named John Philip Holland who invented the first submarine that was used in World War II.
Alright, let me say some more. Today, more than 4/5 of the Republic's population is Roman Catholic, sadly, with small numbers of other religious practices, including Angelicans, I don't know how to say that right, Presbyterians, and Methodists, Muslims, and Jews. Right. There is no officially established church in Ireland. Ireland's Irish Republic is a parliamentary democracy. Its constitution was propagated in 1937 and can be amended through a referendum. The president is chosen by the Republic from him or her, don't want to be sexist now, to remain for one term, which is 7 years. He or she, again, only if it is elected, the president normally acts on the advice given from the government, but he also is allowed to decline it. And this was Ireland. Thank you for listening. And the book.
Yes,